Greetings everyone, Slizzle466 here. I'm back from a small break. Happy New Year. Welcome to 2022. We're going to kick the year off looking at some of the best decks in Wild that have popped up. And we start with Evil Devil's Cthun Druid. So this deck is based around being able to cheat out a lot of mana with Wild Heart Guff. You can play out all the Cthun spells, and then you've got your Cthun the Shattered, which can deal 30 damage, randomly split among all enemies. You can get extra Cthuns by using Moonlit Guidance to draw multiples of them. So it's a really fun deck to play. Great new archetype to have in the Alterac Valley expansion. Next up we have Blue Train's Odd Questline Hunter. It's probably the best deck out there. This is also one of the best builds. So if you want to get some free wins, give this deck a spin. Moving to Mage, we have APM Mage by Petrosman. So basically how the list works is you want to maybe cheat out Apprentices and Flamewakers with your Drekthar, or just play them from hand. And basically, because of the spell reduction off Apprentice, the spell reduction off your Incantus Flow, pretty much your entire deck is free. So you do a lot of damage to Flamewaker. You've also got Stargazer Luna to cycle even further. So pretty amazing deck into slower decks. Not so good though against more aggressive decks. The best Mage deck you're probably going to find is Ignite Mage. This is a list by Slate. Again, I think this is pretty much an optimal build of the list. I like the builds that go for the Elemental package, going for the Elemental Evocation, Sanctum Chandler, and then just combo off. It's a bit of a tricky deck to play, but once you get a hang of it, it is very powerful. Moving to Paladin, we have Aggro Paladin by NHL. So this is a bit of a sleeper deck. A lot of people aren't really playing it. It's particularly good if there aren't too many shamans in your meta. But what really helps to really mess up your opponent are the Iron Deep Trogs. Even though it got nerfed, it's still pretty good. You've got the Firewatch posts, you've got the Nerebar Weblords. And of course, again, you can cheat things out with Drekthar. With the Dun Baldar Bridge, whenever you summon minions, you give them +2/+2. So this is nice to have as an effect. Lightforce Carriel's insane. So definitely a deck that's definitely under the radar. The next Paladin deck we have is Handbuff Paladin by Swanky Orc. Basically how most of the Handbuff Paladin decks work is they try to buff charge minions in the hand to win. So in this case, we've got Bluegill Warriors, we've got Arcane Golems, you've got Lower Thebda Stall. If you need a bit more time to get those charge minions buffed up, you can buff it with the hero power of Lightforge Carriel, and again, the Battle Cry and the weapon are incredible. So if you want to play Handbuff Paladin, this is a good way to do so. The Living Dragon Breath is a tech against freeze decks like Free Shaman. For Priest, I've got Aggro Priest by King's Bounty. Again, pretty optimal list. I like the lists that go with the pirate packages and the cannons. Some of them don't for some reason. I wouldn't recommend those personally. But otherwise, Iron Deep Trog is just pretty irritating for your opponent to have to play around. Cult Neophyte's a tech against Hunter. But otherwise, it's a pretty solid list. Moving to Rogue, we've got Pillager Rogue. This is a deck I can never play myself personally. I just always mess it up. But basically, it's about doing a lot of crazy combos, discounting a bunch of stuff in your hand, and then killing your opponent with Spectral Pillagers. Quite often, you can OTK your opponent from 30 health down. Kingsbane Rogue is also making a little bit of a comeback. This list by Smudge. It's a cannon-based list. Not all the Kingsbane lists run ship's cannon, but this particular one does. Apart from that, it's Kingsbane Rogue. It's pretty solid. Shadowcraft of Scabs is great. It serves as a vanish, gives you minions. lets you combo things, lets you just whack your opponent in the face with your Kingsbane. So definitely a nice card to have in the list. Moving to Shaman, we've got Free Shaman, or some people also refer to it as Shadowwalk Shaman, because it runs duplicates. If we have a little spin through the list here, you've got the Bolner Hammerbeak, which is great for repeating a battle cry that you play, whether it's whether it's a Snowfall Guardian, for example, or even just your Primal Dungeoneer if you're trying to draw your cards, or make sure you pull that questline reward from your opponent with a Dirty Rat. There's a Grizzled Wizard in here. Notice that there isn't a Sir Finley Murgleton. That's simply because it really clutters up the Ice Fishing to try and get the Toxfin Flurgle combo. Yes, there's a Mutinous in there. 3 Murlocs is okay, but 4 is really clunky. Keep in mind with the Grizzled Wizard, yes, you can swap your hero powers, which will mess your opponent up for only 1 turn, but you can repeat that battle cry over several turns, playing cards like Brilliant Macaw. You've got your Lower Third Stall, Grumble World Shaker to bounce everything back, have them cost 1. The Snowfall Guardian is the real king of the deck. Even though it's 6 mana now, it's still incredible. You can play its effect over and over until you get to a point where you can play Shadowwalk and your opponent can never attack with their board. Unless they're running a tech card. Now, Reno Shaman. Again, Reno lists you got to be careful of. It's really based on the specific player, the meta that they're experiencing. But basically, this is very similar to the Freeze Shaman list we just looked at, but because it's Reno, you can run more cards because they're all singletons. I'm not going to go into this in a whole bunch of detail, but just to mouse over a couple cards, the Herald of Lokhalar is nice to draw a Frost spell. You don't see that in old decks. Otherwise, I mean, it's heavy on the legendary, so if you're free to play, it's not the best list to play around with. But this is a well-built list to hit high legend. If you want to play Reno Shaman, give this one a try. Moving to Warlock, we've got Even Warlock by Anemone. Again, spinning through the list, you've got a lot of anti-tech spell cards. So you've got the Cult Neophyte, the Firewatch Post is pretty annoying. You got the anti-Battle Cry Nerebar Weblord. You got the Wailing Soul as the Free Shaman tech. You got the Nerubian Unraveler, which is again a spell-based tech against mages, hunters, things like that. It's quite an aggressive deck, so you get these giants out pretty early. So usually you can win pretty early in the game because of Battleground Battlemaster, but if not, you can just kind of stall out with your low-end cards to the mid-game and kill your opponent a little later on. Giant Warlock. This is basically kind of like the Dark Glare Warlock, except it doesn't run Dark Glare anymore. Some people refer to this as Broomlock because the animated broomstick is just insane. But again, you are trying to cheat out your giants as early as possible. Give them Wind Fury with Battleground Battlemaster. You can stall with Lower Theb. You've got Tamsin to give you multiple power overwhelmings if you need them. You've got Dirty Rats. You've got a single Defile in here, which is nice. There's even a Zephyrus in here. This deck does cycle so fast that even though the deck runs duplicates, the Zephyrus will become active at some point. So definitely a very nice build to have a run with. Acute Lock. Acute Lock, this is a list by Ultra Tom. It is pretty stock. I believe it might actually be Epthopper's list or something similar. However, the new card that people are running now is the Frostwolf Warmaster, 4 mana 3/3, costs 1 less for each card you've played this turn. You do tend to play a lot of cards in a turn with this deck, especially with all the 0 drops. So it's nice to get some 0 mana 3/3s as well on the board. And last but not least, it's Pirate Warrior. One thing I specifically like about this list is the Lower Theb. I don't think it's the worst idea to have in the list. It just lets you get an auto win against Mage after you pop their block, or just stall out an opponent so you can kill them. I also don't mind the one Shiver Their Timbers. It's just nice for a little bit of board removal in those times that you do fall behind a little bit. But otherwise, solid. Pirate Warrior, one of the best decks in the meta. If you want to try out any of these lists, you'll find the deck codes in the description below. If you're a mobile user and those codes are hard to copy, there's an easy to enter link to my Discord. You can visit the deck lists only channel. You'll find you can copy and paste the deck codes much easier in there. If there's a deck you didn't see in this video and you'd like to let me know, drop a comment below. I can even maybe send you a deck code if I have it, or you can share one with me if you want to share your deck. But otherwise, if you want to support the channel, you can click the subscribe button, click the notification bell, and until next time, hope to see you again.